Բարի լույս ամենքիդ. Good morning, everyone. It's super to see so many people on Super Bowl Sunday. Հանուն Հոր եւ Որդվո եւ Հոգվին Սրբո Amen. The Sea of Galilee was almost like the headquarters of Christ. He called his disciples on the shores of Galilee. He preached many times on the Sea of Galilee. He brought many examples related to fishing, sailing our boat on the sea, on the waters. And here we are today. We are presented yet with another story related to the Sea of Galilee. When we hear the word sea, we think it's huge, magnificent, but in reality it's a lake. Next year, God willing, when we go to Jerusalem as pilgrims, we will have a chance to have a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee. And you'll see it's not really a sea, it's a lake. Many of you that have been in Jerusalem can attest to that. But it's called sea because it's surrounded by mountains, and oftentimes there are storms on this small lake. And the storms are so big that it feels like you are on the sea. So what happened? Jesus fed 5,000 people of his followers. And then, right after that, they wanted to make him a king. Isn't that natural? I'm sure if one of the candidates of presidency, if they fed 5,000 of their followers, for sure they would have really popular reputation. There is also a funny story connected to this story of feeding the 5,000. A priest is giving a sermon on this story. He says, and Jesus performed a miracle by feeding 5 people with 5,000 bread and fish. The deacon says, no, Father, it's the opposite. He says, you don't know, uneducated deacon. That's the miracle, that 5 people ate 5,000 fish and bread and didn't die. But that's not the point of today's message. What I wanted to say is that people were following Christ and they simply wanted to make him a king because they were fed. They were given something tangible, something physical. And Jesus even says in another passage, you don't follow me because you have strong faith in me. You follow me simply because you ate from the bread I gave you and you want to have more of that. That's why you follow me. Anyhow, he withdrew from this crowd who had different perspectives and understanding about Christ. He withdrew and he went alone on a mountain to be by himself, and he sent off his disciples on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. And while they were sailing their boat on the Sea of Galilee, there was this big storm. They were probably 5 miles away from the shore, and they saw Christ walking on the water and approaching to them. And they were all terrified because they thought it's some kind of ghost. And Jesus said, it is I, do not be afraid. St. Matthew, in his gospel, adds a very, very unique and important detail to this story. He says, when the apostles saw Jesus coming towards them, Peter, wanting to make sure that it's the Lord, he said, Lord, if it is you, bid me to come to you. And Jesus said, come. And what happened? Peter started to walk on this raging sea towards Christ. But 1 second he doubted and he started to sink. Jesus reached out his hand and he saved him from drowning. And he said, O man of little faith, why did you doubt? 3 things happened here, dear faithful. The apostles saw Jesus. They saw him. And then they heard him. It is I, do not be afraid. And then they started to go towards him. These are all actions. There is movement in this. Oftentimes we think faith is just something passive. We just say, I believe in God. That's it. How does that change your life? By believing in God, do you actually see him in your life? Can you actually hear his voice, which is the softest usually among all the voices that we hear? And when you see and you hear him, do you walk towards him? It's really tough. We are living in tough times, spiritually, especially in the West. And I know everyone's anxiety level is probably, I don't know where it is. Every day we wake up, there is something new. Yet another surprise. And it's usually not so pleasant. I have a very practical recommendation. Unplug yourself from all the news, please, from social media, for a period of time, until you gain your strength and your peace, until you can start seeing again Christ, you can start hearing his voice again, and you can start walking towards him again. Because if we keep doing what we have been doing for this couple of months at least, it's going to cause so much spiritual damage that it will take many, many years to recover from it. We are all with our broken boats on this raging sea of life. Sometimes the sea is calm, but for the most time, there are big, big storms for every one of us. Whether in our personal life, family life, marital life, with children, with co-workers, there are many, many storms in every single person's life, no exceptions. And there are many, many people and many, many things that claim to help us in this raging sea. But there is only one true path. We see Jesus the Christ. We make sure that we open our ears to hear his soft voice. It is I, do not be afraid. And then we start walking towards him. And I'm sure in this journey, we likewise will doubt, just like St. Peter. And we will start sinking. But know for sure that Christ is there for you. He's there to reach his hand and save you from drowning. I don't know if you've seen someone saving someone's life in a lake or in a sea from drowning. Unless the two hands are reached towards one another, there can be no saving. So if we keep our hands like this and don't reach towards heaven, towards Christ, we won't be saved. He reaches his hand all the way down, but then we have to reach back towards him in order to be saved. So in this chaos of our times, let us try our best to strengthen our faith in Christ so we can see him, we can hear him, and we can walk towards him. Amen.